Hello and welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Ram Venkat Srikar, and today we have with us filmmaker Ashwin Gangaraju, who made his directorial debut with Aakashvaani, that's streaming on Sony Live. Now, let me warn you beforehand that this will be a spoiler-filled discussion. So, if you haven't seen the film yet, I recommend you go check out the film on Sony Live and then watch this conversation. First of all, hi Ashwin. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Hi, Ram.
I'm good.
Good
I'm
to-
good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
So, so first of
So
all,
the
congrats for the
response,
film.
thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
The very first question that I would ask you is, who are you? Like, what brought you here? Like, when did the movie bug bite you? And when did you become to aspire a filmmaker?
Like everyone else, I'm basically from in and around of Tirupati. My native is Railway Kodur, which
Mm-hmm.
falls in the Kadapa district. Like everyone else, like in Tirupati, I used to watch movies a lot, especially Chiranjeevi sir. And we used to go crazy, watch films, and we used to have this group theaters in Tirupati.
Right.
So that's where all the movie lovers in Tirupati celebrate cinema. They come there and there used to be long queues until the bus stand so to get the tickets and stuff like that. So I was one of them. In my first year, so it's like every week I used to watch 3 4 films every week in my first year of engineering.
Mm.
So when the intensity of me watching the films grown drastically, maybe in the second year or something, I think somewhere I realized when I got deep into this euphoria of enjoying films. Somewhere in second year, I thought I can tell a story too. I don't know how it happened, but in second year, I thought I can tell a story too. So the moment I got that bug into my head, I started looking at something which goes beyond the screen. Know what happens beyond the screen to make the film happen and bring it to
Mm.
the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so second year, third year, fourth year, I extensively studied about films,
Okay.
and
In what way?
and I used to read books. I used to until then I never watched non-Indian films other than Spielberg films. But
Mm.
the moment I thought I should be a storyteller too at some point of time, I started watching a lot of films. And how many ever films I watched now,
Mm.
my study of films came down to Spielberg films. I don't know.
Oh.
It just hit me hard. The kind of storyteller I want to be, the kind of stories I want to write, and the kind of craft uh, I want to learn. It again, how much, if I watch 1,000 films, it boils down to E.T., it boils down to Jurassic Park.
Okay.
So maybe that's where I found my interest as a storyteller, as a filmmaker. See, I'm from a middle class background, not financially well set, and I have nobody in films to call. See, I want to be a filmmaker. Can I
Mm-hmm.
come in? So there was nobody in films I know,
Mm.
and so that's the reason why I gave it some 3 4 years time whether I'm thinking right. So once I go in, there is no coming back.
Right.
So once I step in, there is no coming back. So I gave it 3 4 years of time. In the meanwhile, I got placed in a software company. So after my engineering, I went to Bangalore
Mm-hmm.
and I did a desk job for over a year.
Mm.
So I thought when I was working there, I thought I don't think I belong there. So I want to go out and explore the world of films and tell stories only I can.
Mm.
Uh, that's when I decided. So as I told you, I don't have anybody in the film industry to get in. So when I was in Bangalore doing my software job, I was looking for sources to get into films. I got a placement in New York Film Academy. But again, it's a long way and too much of money involved to go there and study. I was looking for something in Telugu. That's when I found out about Ram Venkat Film School.
Okay.
So they started the film school in 2008, but I couldn't get in because I was late to realize that there is a film school. Then I applied for 2009 batch. Then I came here, gave my interview, and they had some tests. They have some aptitude test or something. What do you think of films? They have shown a film, and they wanted me to write something. I really felt about it and stuff like that. So I wrote it, and it came back to Bangalore. After a month or so, they got back to me saying that you are selected. You can come and join this film school. That's where the real test began. They wanted me to pay some money. Obviously, there is a fee for a film school. By then, I've already told my parents that I'm interested in writing and making films. They didn't say no because I was a good student too, so they had confidence in me. They were a lot of people were really shocked because if you don't study, you go to films. That's how it works, no? When it comes to going in films. So they were okay. They didn't say no, but they said go try. If it doesn't work, you can always come back. So they didn't know that I was not going to come back. So yeah, film school, Ramanadu Film School guys came back to me and said you are selected. And there is so and so price has to be paid for the
Admission.
seat. Yeah, for the admission. So I told them, "See, I don't have that much money. I didn't want to take financial support from my parents because it's solely my decision to get into films. So I told them, see, I'm selected. I'm doing a job right now. Maybe by next year I'll have enough money to come and join. So can you reserve the seat for the next year so that I can earn money and come back and join?
Okay.
No. So you have to. That doesn't work like that. So you have to apply next year and stuff like that. They said that I gave up that option.
Okay.
I was sitting and working again. And after a few days, no, that the classes were about to start in 2 days. So I got a call again from film school. They had actually put a mail saying that we had a discussion with Mr. Suresh Babu. He was evaluating all the students' applications and stuff like that. He asked why didn't this guy join something like that. So they said some financial issues. Suresh Babu said, I'm giving him a scholarship. I was among 1, 2, or 3, something like that.
Wow.
Among all the students that came for the admissions. I said, this guy made it to the top. So I am giving him a scholarship, ask him to come off. So I was literally sitting in the office before my computer. I saw the mail. I was so excited. I was so happy. I called my brother. See, they are giving me a scholarship. My brother, I used to stay with my brother. See, so he is also into software. So I called my brother. Their classes are starting in 2 days. They're giving me scholarship. I think I really want to go. He said, "You go ahead. I'll take care of the rest." He gave me a push. And I went to, as soon as I saw the mail, I went to my manager and said, "Sir, I have a stomach ache. So can I go home and take rest?" So I came home, got the train ticket the same evening. I got in the train and came to Hyderabad and got into the class. So after 11 or 2 years, I'm still in the absconded list in that company.
Okay, you haven't served you haven't served the notice period. I see.
No, I haven't served. So
now, how did film school change your perspective towards films? Because we accumulate a perspective by watching films, right? And like you said, like you are someone that you have consumed lots and lots of films. But when you go and see it from an academic perspective, it completely offers a much deeper and richer insight. So, in that sense, how did film school change your perspective towards cinema?
Frankly speaking, I told you, before I joined the film school, there was 4 years of time where I was studying films and making sure that I was thinking right, making sure that if I go, I won't come back and stuff like that. So whatever in those 4 years of time, no, whatever knowledge I gained by watching films, reading books, and stuff like that. So that was kind of vague, to be frank.
Hmm.
Uh, because I came from a background where I used to whistle in theaters, watch Chiranjeev sir's films, and a lot of Balakrishna sir's. So all that stuff, no. So after I joined the film school, it's kind of a revelation to me. So it's kind of there were all the things in my head about films, no,
Hmm.
they were all over the place. The
Hmm.
film
Hmm.
school
Hmm.
has put them together and gave it a shape to the dreams.
You are a former associate of SS Rajamouli, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
can you name something that you have acquired from him? Like I know a lot of people who have been asked this question, they say that he's hardworking, he's perfectionist.
Yeah,
But I want you to be
yeah,
more specific because you had the chance to work with him on three films. Like you worked alongside
yes,
him, worked very closely with him on three films,
yeah,
Ega and the
yeah,
two Bahubali films, I suppose. So, what
yeah.
is that one thing you have learned from? Not it doesn't have to be one thing. What did you learn from
Yeah.
him, and that you tried to put to use in your debut film?
So one thing is patience. I realized to be a filmmaker, how much ever creative you are on paper, you have to be very, very good in crisis management to get the things on screen.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
most important thing is what I think. To be precise, very, very precise, this is the most important skill I've learned from Rajmouli sir. So it's the crisis management.
Okay.
See, you write a scene, I go onto the set. There is a lot of coordination after you write a scene to get things onto the set. So once you go onto the set, there are n number of problems that come and sit before you, and you have to be mentally strong enough. You have to be creative enough. You have to be skilled enough to solve the crisis, not disturb your mind, and transform that information into the actors and to the technicians and get the things on screen. And the best thing I've learned from him, if you truly believe in something, no matter what comes in between, who comes in between to stop you, you have to get it done.
Hmm.
You have to
Okay.
get it done. So obviously there are a lot of other things in the craft wise, how to narrate to your actors, how to the shot blocking that comes to you naturally. You don't have to learn consciously.
Now, can you name something like because you have stressed that you have learned crisis management from him, and as we know, but by the time you joined Mr. Rajmouli, he had lavish budgets. Like he had the liberty, he had that that flourish in his films.
Yeah,
But your
yeah,
first film, Aakashvaani, I assume although it doesn't really look like an indie film, it has that scale. I'm sure it was
yeah.
made on a shoestring budget. You had your restrictions. So I assume it was a more restrained production in that sense. So, can you name something where you solved a last minute crisis and you're like, you patted your own back and you're like, okay, I did it.
Every day was like that. When I
Oh,
was
okay.
making Aakashvaani, every single day was like that. So I had no reference as a first time
Hmm.
filmmaker
Hmm.
in terms of script. In terms of idea, I had no reference.
Hmm.
And when it comes to finding locations, I had no reference because nobody has ever shot in those locations.
Right.
When it comes to casting, I had no reference because nobody has casted so many new actors and spent 5 long months to cast the actors in a film. When it comes to production design, I had no reference. I had support from my production designer. I was prepared for all this from the
Okay.
experience I got from him.
Acha. Okay.
No
Okay.
day was stressful. I was enjoying it
Hmm.
actually. So I want to do stuff like that. I want to do stuff like that. I am not going to, so, a lot of people asked me on a funny note. So I had put the Ashwin Gangaraju film
That was
in
supposed to
my
be my last question. I was saving it for the
yeah.
last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you now. It's a lot of people ask me
Hmm.
why the Ashwin Gangaraju film.
Huh.
It sounds arrogant, so stuff like that. So I'll tell you. I'll tell you the reason. So it's 1 to 20, whatever the years that's going to take to make a film. I'm going to make film at least. So if 100 people, 100 filmmakers are watching my film, at least 60 to 70% should think that I can't make that film. Uh, so I want to tell stories only I can tell. Uh, maybe so I just think it like that. I don't know if everybody thinks like that. So I want to direct, make films only I think I can tell, I can make.
Wonderful.
So I
So,
told them, so they were convinced,
hmm.
whoever asked me.
Yeah, it works. Like it makes sense
Yeah,
because as people who try to break into film industry, as a viewer, it might be just any other film, but for the filmmaker, like when they put their life and soul into it, it becomes their film. Like they own it, and the way you said it,
yeah,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now,
yeah.
where did the idea of Aakashvaani come from?
There are a lot of things that came into the place. First thing is I wanted to write a story, a period story based on characters Hiranyakashipu and Bhakta Prahlada.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
So my Dora is Hiranyakashipu. Bhakta Prahlada is not just one guy, but
Community.
all the community.
Hmm.
And then, so what is Hiranyakashipu and Bhakta Prahlada? He thinks he is God. He wants everybody to think he is God, but this Prahlada thinks his father is not God,
Hmm.
but somebody else. So when I was trying to figure out that where to set up and how to set up and all, the idea of God seemed very interesting. So there are too many perspectives, too many point of views of how to tell this idea. Uh, uh, so that's the reason why I picked up a radio as a normal object,
Hmm. Hmm.
and try to make believe uh, it as God from the tribal point of view, stuff like that. So there are a lot of ideas that came in there. Like for example, I used to play with a kid called Giddodu when I was in my village.
Acha,
So I
so that's
had
a
this.
real name. Okay.
Yeah, that's a real name. That's a real name.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
I used to play with him. He used to look like that. So it took a lot of time for me to. So
Cast.
I used to play. I used to play with a kid called Giddodu in my childhood. I wrote that in my scribble bag. So that Hiranyakasipa, this radio as God, and that kid Giddodu as kid, everything came together and formed as a story. So
Wow. Now that you said that you felt there were a lot of things that were all over the place. Uh, Actually, there is a lot happening in the film, right?
yeah,
There is
yeah,
this isolated tribal community. There is this evil oppressor. There is the oppression angle,
yeah,
and there is science versus superstition. You wouldn't call it superstition, but that belief
yeah.
thing.
Belief,
There's a
blind belief.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot going on in this film. So, were you ever afraid that you were biting more than you can chew?
Frankly, I was. So when I was writing, it was messy.
Hmm.
There were too many ideas. At some point of time, I thought I was preaching too much.
Hmm. Hmm.
I hate preaching, so I hate somebody preaches on screen. So I don't want to do that with my films to the audience. As I told you before, the idea of God is very very broad.
Broad.
So everybody will have their own perspective when they see the film. But what is very very shocking to me is whatever the film I made, no, it's my idea of God. It's my idea of God.
Hmm.
I seriously did not think that so many people would get connected to it. There are section of people who has a different idea, who thinks it's little slow and stuff like that. But I thought that section is going to be more
Hmm.
seriously. But surprisingly, 90% of whatever the feedback I'm getting, they are kind of fitting into my narrative. They're
Hmm.
trying to understand what I was trying to say.
See, as a one-liner, no, like imagine this. Like if I say this one-liner to my friend or anyone, that
Hmm.
a tribal community isolated from the modern world finds a radio, and they
Hmm.
believe that to be God, and they start praying it, sharing their sorrows
Hmm.
and expecting it to solve. This could actually be a very comical film. Like if you see something like in Tamil, there's a film with a
Yes, yes,
camera called
yes, yes.
Munda Supatti, and then like very recently we saw Cinema Bandi.
Hmm.
Now, but Akashwani, it's very serious. It's
Yeah.
very serious. Like I know, like you have always maintained that it's a serious film. The trailer
Hmm.
was serious. The teaser was they were all they
Yeah.
had that tone that it's going to be a serious film, but why the seriousness? Like,
Yeah, I always wanted to pitch the see like you said, there was a lot of debate between me and a lot of people to make this
hmm,
into a comical film.
hmm,
uh, Somewhere, no, when I first wrote this idea, I was 22 or something, when
hmm,
I was 22, 23, when I was in film school, I wrote this idea. But by the time I decided to make this film as my first film, make this story as my first film, the 10 years gone by. So there, as a human being, I was, maybe if I made this film when I was 22, 23, 24, 25, I would have made this a comical film.
okay.
My
Hmm,
idea of my idea my, I evolved as a human being. Somehow I felt I shouldn't make spoof of it, out of this idea.
hmm,
I seriously did not want to make spoof out of this idea. So making comical is spoofing the idea of God.
hmm, hmm.
uh, I have another film which falls into the similar line, that is very very comical.
Okay.
That is very very comical, but this film, see, when I am telling you people are innocent and they believe in God so much and stuff like that, and suddenly I make them look comedians in the second half, it was not
Hmm,
digesting to me. So I had that idea, I had that debate for a long, long time
hmm,
with a lot of people. But no, this is not the tone of the film I wanted to tell. So yeah, I don't want to make those people comedians. They
hmm.
are very very emotional and innocent
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and they believe very very strongly on what they want to believe,
Hmm.
and suddenly I don't want to make fun of it.
Now let's talk about the opening of the film. It opens with a beautiful song that gives us into that
Yeah.
gives us a peek into their lives, and
Mm.
we get their idea, right? That they pray to the sky, they respect the
Yeah,
land and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Mm.
Surprisingly, it's just so happy, whereas that happiness doesn't really prolong throughout the rest
Yeah,
of the runtime, and you wonder whether this happiness that was evident in the song, it was ever whether it ever existed in their lives. So
mm.
why open with a song that is so happy when you clearly know that you are going
Mm.
to put them in much harsher and severe situations with the same
Yeah.
characters?
My idea of having that song is to show them innocent more than happy.
Okay.
Innocent people are happy, they don't
Hmm.
they don't think too much.
Hmm. Hmm.
They don't have too much of knowledge, they don't know the outside world. For me it's more of innocence, showing innocence than happiness.
Okay.
So you see an innocent guy, and when he smiles your heart is full. So
Yeah.
the reason why my idea of showing that song is innocence, I think that worked. A lot of people are saying that. So if I'm not showing them innocent enough as much as I wanted to show, the
Hmm.
rest of the story doesn't work.
Right.
So they are happy and suddenly they are sad, and you feel for them. So that's my
Yeah.
idea. They are already sad, they are again sad, you don't feel for them. They are happy, you get connected to them, and suddenly
Hmm.
there is a problem, then you empathize with them.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's my idea of this thing. Yeah.
So there was an image in the song
Mm.
where like a bunch of kids are lying on a rock and they're looking at the sky and they're happy.
That's my
Like,
favorite shot. Yeah.
yeah, I love that shot. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I think this is going to be a happy film. Okay, might the trailer might have been more of a diversion. They're trying to subvert our expectation, but then oh boy, like 3 minutes later, you. I also like the idea of how you introduce Gidda. The closest the film has to a protagonist, and through him you get into the world of the oppression with that whole goat. And
Yeah.
once there is that goat, and once Samba
Yeah.
enters, then I think that's when the film begins
Mm.
on that note, and you get that okay, now this is really not going to be a comedy. I really like that idea of introducing us to this whole oppression angle
Mm.
with
Yeah.
guitar.
Mm.
Uh, now, your villain, Dora, played by Vinay Verma. To be frank, that was one of the lesser aspects that's worked for me. I
Yeah.
liked the idea that you are trying. You have a you have, like, he has his son who's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
Was it an attempt to humanize this character, because
Yes.
that guy was anything
Yes.
but human, to be frank.
Yeah, anything but human. I wanted an emotion. I did not want him to be a villain for the sake of villain.
Hmm.
And I wanted to give him a reason to do for him doing whatever he is doing. And only guy in the story who doesn't have a reason for what he's doing is Sambadu. He's
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
he's
Because he belongs
yeah
to
he,
this section, and yeah. Hmm.
he's kind of an alter ego for Dora.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of. I wanted to give him a reason. There are a lot. There is a section of audience like you who are not happy with this. uh, they like the other part, not this part.
Yeah.
Somebody, there are a lot of other section. There are other section of people who love this section and that section also. So there are a lot of mix and match. Uh,
Hmm.
aspect
Right.
to it. So, the reason that to answer your question, I wanted to give him a reason to do whatever he wanted to do. He's just
Hmm.
not, I do not want him to be a villain for the sake of villain.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's it. No, my idea is in the film when I'm talking about a god, when somebody else is talking about God, the conflict is always between believer and non-believer.
No. Yeah.
So it's kind of an experiment I did, but this in this film, the drama is between who believes less, who believes more, and who believes stronger.
Because Dora also believes in this
Yeah, Dora
superstition.
also believes in something, not God. For him, something else is God.
Hmm.
For Dora, something else is God. For Chandra Master, something else is God.
Hmm.
And for this villager, something else is God. Who is right, who is wrong, who is stronger, who wins is the story.
Hmm.
Yeah, end of
So
story.
another aspect that I kind of had mixed feelings about the film was that, like I said, it really doesn't have a sole protagonist. Like, you have
Yeah,
Gidda
yeah.
there, but Gidda, like, dies halfway through the film. Like, to be frank, I walked into the film without knowing much, and when you introduced this character called Eddie, I thought
Mm,
probably he's gonna play a more substantial role than he's given.
mm,
But then 5 minutes
mm.
later, he's dead. And then, okay, then we start following Gita. He brings he precipitates that whole radio angle. He brings that
Radio.
thing. And then I think after 1 hour 10 minutes or 12 minutes into the film, he dies. I'm like, okay, like, this is not supposed to happen. Like, this guy was supposed to be the protagonist of the film. Then he dies, and then Chandra Master comes. But Chandra Master too, we are introduced to him early in the film, like in the 10th or 12th minute, and then he comes after, like, towards in the second act, like when the film is like 40
Yeah.
minutes, when you have the 40 minutes remaining. So
Mm.
don't you think this was more, weren't you running the risk of robbing a protagonist to root for from the viewer?
What I did in this film, I took an idea. Idea is that belief in God. So if you see the film again,
Hmm.
you will notice I am actually following an idea. I'm actually following an idea. The characters are both the sides of the line. They come in, they cross, they come in, they cross. The Gidda comes in, he dies. Then the Rangadu comes into this idea, then takes it to the screenplay. Then Chandra Master. What I'm trying to say is there is line of idea of God. There is science, there is God, there is superstition, everything all over the place. The reason why nobody is complaining because it kind of worked.
Right, it does,
Like the
yeah.
film is working because of this. I am as a director, as a narrator, as a story writer, I am taking this idea forward until the climax. The characters come into the line, they cross. The Chandra Master doesn't believe much. He believes, crosses the line, he completely believes.
Hmm.
The Dara believes in something else, he crosses the line, he doesn't believe, he dies. So I am following an idea. It's a very, very subtextual thing which I tried
Yeah.
to place it as a main story.
Yeah.
I think it kind of worked is what I would like to believe, seeing all the response.
Hmm.
That is a very very riskiest thing, but I was very very confident about. I wanted to so whatever this idea thing I am trying to tell you,
Hmm.
I was very clear on that. So otherwise, it's the most riskiest thing to do, not following a single character.
I would say
Yeah,
the whole film was a huge gamble because
yeah,
it really wasn't an indie film. Neither was it
yeah,
treated like an indie film, right? Like
yeah.
it has its moment. It has a proper villain. It has had it been an indie film, I think we have seen, like I can clearly envision what an indie version of this film would look like. It has a heart of an indie, but it is treated like a proper mainstream masala film.
Yeah, so because I come from the masala background,
Yeah, yeah.
so as a writer, so that's what I like to do. As a
Hmm.
writer, I want to write something unique. As a director, I want to treat that, push the writer aside and take whatever he wrote and make this into a appealing to as many people as possible. So,
Mm. And good thing that you
so
have clarified about the time, because I remember I was scratching my head while writing about the film that okay, what am I supposed to say? Like, when is this film set in? Like is it the 70s? Is it the 60s? Or is it just
I
after the
I I
independence?
I had my references when I was doing research, when I
Hmm.
was telling my production designer, costumer, and costume stylist and stuff like that. I had my references. Obviously, when
Hmm.
you hear the song coming from it, no,
Songs,
you will
yeah,
have
the
it.
radio, yeah, yeah.
I wanted to, like I told you, there is an open discussion in the end. I want to leave it to the audience about a lot of
Right.
things in the film. Yeah,
Now, like we discussed earlier, that whole science versus superstition angle, which is what I loved about the film, because in a way it propagates the idea that science will empower people. Because
yeah,
when Chandra Master tries to instigate that uprise against the oppressor, they fail, right? When they try to fight them physically, they fail, and then it is science which takes the villain down with that whole electric impulse. Never does look down upon the mythology. Like obviously, like you said that it was your
yeah.
interpretation of Hiranyakashipu and
Mm,
Prahalada story. I really
mm,
loved how you balanced both of
yeah.
this.
So
So,
that final moment I told you in the beginning, this story is I merged like Hiranyakashipu Bhakta Prahlad idea, the
hmm,
God's idea,
hmm,
and the science idea. All
right,
these things, no, they meet at the point
climax.
where the Dora dies.
Hmm, hmm,
I can explain you. So Hiranyakashipu, how does Hiranyakashipu die? The Narasimha Swami comes out of the pillar and kills him.
hmm,
And when it comes to the science, Chandra Master explains in the school
right.
how the electromagnetism works, and this is electromagnetism according
Hmm,
to him in his point of view. In tribal's point of view, there are three point of views, no, the Dora, Chandra Master, and tribal. For Dora, it's Narasimha Swami. He even tells in the in one of the scenes before, to Lingaya in a comical way, no, in a sarcastic
hmm,
way. In Telugu, the dialogue says,
hmm,
uh, నిజంగానే స్తంభం నిలబడితే నరసింహస్వామి వచ్చి చంపేయడు.
hmm,
He
hmm,
says that. I tried to
hmm,
put it there. So for Dora, it's Narasimha Swami. For Master, it's electromagnetism.
hmm, hmm.
Maybe he already shifted towards God. Maybe he thinks it's something else. And for tribe, it is God. So
Right. If I have probably I'm naming too many complaints, but
yeah,
why didn't we get to see more of the happiness towards the end after their lives have improved? Like after Dora dies, when everything is sorted, like we could have spent a couple of more minutes with them, right? Like because this
yeah.
film spends almost 2 hours, 10 minutes showing their
Mm.
plight, showing their struggle. Why not give us 2 more minutes of happiness? Was it due to the
Uh,
budget constraints or things like that, or
no.
did you
It's
have
a
things
creative.
written?
No,
It
it's a
felt quite
creative.
abrupt when it ended. Like, okay,
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it was a satisfying end, but 2 more minutes of happiness.
Yeah, I tried to put 30 seconds of happiness and 1.5 minute more could have worked. In the
It's,
end credit scene, there is a scene.
yeah, they.
So why I did that, maybe you will know in the future.
Hmm.
You will, yeah, this has an extension to the
Okay.
next film. Yeah.
Okay. Is it
So
happening?
it will happen because of the response.
Wonderful.
I wanted
Wonderful.
to I wanted to do it only if the film is received well. It is received extremely well.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
it is received extremely well, but it's a very big scale film.
Wow.
Uh, all the things you have seen in each and every scene will have a story in the.
Oh, wow.
So the reason why I'm telling you this, I was doing a TV9 interview with Samuthirakani sir.
Okay.
So in that conversation, he revealed that.
Acha.
So
Okay.
he
Okay.
revealed that. So,
So can we expect
uh,
that the extension will follow the same set of characters?
a few characters will follow, but it's a very
Okay.
very big setup. It's a science fiction kind of stuff. It's an extension to the story.
Wow.
It's a science fiction. So I'm very very. I wrote that story first.
Wow.
So if I go and tell my producers that I'll make this film first, he'll kick me out because it's a lot of budget. So I
Right.
wanted this film to work and to be a reason for next film to happen. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's fascinating. I really hope we get to see that on the big screen
yeah,
ASAP.
yes,
Yeah. Wow. So
yeah.
all the best for that.
This. Thank you. Yeah, it's a very seeing this response. I think this is uh, if I'm not exaggerating, that's going to be a very very good film.
You have worked with Mr. Srikar Prasad on this project, right? And
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
once Tamil filmmaker S.U. Arun Kumar
Mm.
saying in one interview that for his debut film, he was hell bent that he wanted editor Srikar Prasad to be on board, and he tried so hard to get him on board because he's a film school by himself. So,
Mm.
what was that perspective? Because you are a debutant filmmaker,
Yeah, yeah.
and Mr. Prasad has been here for decades. So what's to like learn from him, and what did he bring to the table?
I was hellbent too. So
Okay, okay.
I was hellbent too. So fortunately, all the big technician and actors who worked on the film, like Samuthirakani sir, Srikar sir, Sai Madhapura sir, and all
Hmm,
those three, they were already on top when I
hmm,
approached them.
hmm,
They listening to the story, they came down to my budgets.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
They kind of felt uh, they were also I mean they wanted to be part of this film too. I was very very hell-bent on particularly these three people. Otherwise, keeping the budget in mind, I could have gone to somebody else. I'm very happy and very glad that they kind of came into our budgets. Like the kind of judgments he makes, no, he kind of surprises you very
Can you name a couple? Can you name something that surprised you that we also got to see in the film, and what your
uh,
original idea was?
when this Edodo was running after the goat. After that, there is a scene where all the people that his wife is crying and all the
Hmm.
people sitting on Devdu Gutta and stuff like that. This is a very, very minute, but it matters to me as a director. But I shot the scene. I shot the scene. I shot the scene. But when shooting the scene as a director, you know that this reaction comes here, this reaction
Hmm.
comes here in an order. So I sent the scene to him. He edited and sent me the scene back. He kind of swapped a couple of expressions, couple of reactions, and that scenes looked so good.
Okay.
Just a single, I thought this reaction should come there, but he took that reaction out and kept it before, and this reaction kept it there, and the scene sounded so good. So it's a beautiful feeling for a filmmaker when it gets better on the editing table. So
Hmm.
that's where all the experience comes in. No, it's like he edited some 500 films and stuff like that. Also, he was very very supportive, not as an editor, but as a also as a human being. He came
Hmm.
down for our budgets and he edited the film superbly. And there was some issues in between in the production process of the film. He gave an immense moral support to me.
Hmm.
You 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 wrote a story. You wrote a fantastic story. You directed it so well. Authenticity. You brought in authenticity with the fantastic technicians and actors on board. Yeah. So he is a big boost to me. So I'm looking forward to working with him again. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Now that you've said this, I assume it was a tiring production, not just like where was it shot? Where was the film shot?
It's in Paderu. It's in Paderu.
So where did you guys stay,
It's
and what was the process like? What
we
was?
yeah. So I initially the kind of film I wanted to make was very different. So
Hmm.
once I finished the story with my production designer Mohan, Suresh, and we went on a location scout all over India.
Hmm.
So frankly speaking, I wanted this to be a Hobbit kind of film. Hobbit kind of setup. So Paderu was a kind of an Excel area. Nobody goes and shoots there.
Hmm.
So we went there. It's a private pepper estate.
Hmm.
So it's 1 hour distance from Araku.
Hmm.
So we went there. We saw a small open area. So where the Dorakada happens, no?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, that was the area which was empty. Otherwise, it was full of the forest.
Okay. Hmm.
So we kind of figured it out. I think this is the perfect place. My production designer was very happy. He wanted big trees. He
Hmm.
wanted big trees, and such a smart fellow. He's going to be the best in India in the coming years. So for me, that shot was
The
the
opening
first
shot
shot.
where I
The
think it has
opening
a
shot.
great edit also somewhere, some edit gimmick that Mr.
Yeah,
Prasad has pulled off. Like it
yeah,
seamlessly moves from a top
yeah,
angle to a
yeah,
triangle.
yeah.
I was like, I watched it thrice. I'm like, okay, they tried to do
Mm.
something, some gimmick here, and they
Yeah.
pulled it off very well.
So in writing the script itself, the first thing I wrote, the camera travels from the universe to the globe to the
Yeah.
forest, and you kind of enter the this thing. So having this shot in mind, we designed the set and we arranged the huts so that this shot will look beautiful. The
Wow.
music
Okay.
the music was composed. Even when I'm narrating to the music director and to the lyricist, I told
Hmm.
them this, the shot comes somewhere in the shot, the music has to start,
Hmm. Hmm.
it goes, and yeah, that's what. When I was narrating to everybody, this was I used to tell, camera goes. I used to get bored. So even when I was telling to DOP, I don't care about other shots, we'll have to achieve this shot.
Hmm. Hmm.
It doesn't uh, if you want to put more budget to this, let's put to this.
Hmm.
So uh, it's one of the riskiest shots we did, because nobody, whoever the fly cam guys came in, no, they were not ready.
Hmm.
They kind of ran off, because it's
Okay.
very difficult to operate the camera in the between those trees, and get the shot what we wanted. So what we had initially in mind was much more beautiful shot, but what you saw is what we were able to achieve.
No, but it was still
So
beautiful because you get the idea like there are huts on this side, there are huts on this side, and the camera it moves. It's pretty good. Yeah, and there
yeah,
is also like that whole way that goes in the center.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
incline. It's inclined.
Yeah,
So yeah.
incline. The inclination was uh, that having that the location has that inclination is the reason why we chose that location.
And from
Yeah,
what you're saying, I assume it was a very tiring production. And we have all known that Mr. Karthikeya had to opt out of the project because he had to work on other things.
yeah,
And there was COVID, there was pandemic, there was uncertainty about the theaters
yeah,
reopening. And
yeah.
unfortunately, the film had to go to OTT, which I think is
Mm.
a better film because now anyone from the country has access to watch it.
Can watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which otherwise
Mm.
I think this would have been categorized into this niche art film space. So in
Mm.
that sense, going for a
Mm.
streaming platform worked very well.
Mm.
So, but
Yeah.
through all these, hardships, like, what was your
Mm.
state of mind, and how difficult was it to maintain sanity? What was your
Mm.
state of mind, and how difficult was it to maintain sanity?
It was something more than I can handle,
Definitely,
as a
obviously, yeah, it was
mentally more
too
than I
big.
can handle,
Yeah.
more than I was prepared to go through.
Hmm.
But somehow, end of the day, no, to when you wrote something like this, when you directed something like this, when 90% of the shoot was done, uh, to go through something like this, you should have a story like this to keep yourself motivated. So if it was some commercial stuff, some
Sure.
regular story, I would have left it too. So
Mm-hmm.
this was something I was hell bent on telling the way I want to tell. So that's there was a lot of support from my family, my mom, dad, my brother, my wife, and my father-in-law, and all my. I was married to the same during the
Okay.
same time. Yeah, during the
Okay.
same time. Without their support, I think I couldn't have handled mentally. So there was a lot of moments where I broke down. So
Mm.
that was that was very tough. That was very tough. But team, family, they all believed, and the result
Mm.
is here. So, and I want to
Okay.
thank Mr. Padmanabh Reddy Garu.
Mm.
So when we took a decision for the transition of the production, there are quite a lot of people who watched the film, and some didn't like it, some wanted to take it but couldn't take it for a lot of other reasons.
Mm.
And as a last try, through someone I met Mr. Padmanabh Reddy Garu and showed him the
Mm.
film. He was like, I am taking this film.
Mm.
I am taking this film, and you do whatever the hell you want. I'm going to support you.
Mm.
So that was one highest moment for me. Like the high I am getting with the response was as good as the high I got when Padmanabh Reddy Garu said that.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you, they signed they signed the agreement of transition, and
Mm.
1 week after, Mr. Modi came forward and said there is going to be lockdown. I
Okay.
can't believe
Oh.
that. So I was, me and Padmanabh Reddy garu were sitting after the transition. We were sitting and okay, let's finish this 1 week of shoot next week, and let's
Mm.
release this film 2020 June. Then
Mm.
all the shit happened. So we had to wait for another how much? 1 year, 3 months. He supported me. We finished the shoot, 1 week of shoot in December,
Mm.
and we were supposed to release. There was some delay after the first wave. We
Mm.
decided to. He supported me like immensely, and he wanted to go for theatrical too, because he know that how the sound and visual are going to be in the theater. Maybe first day people won't come because there is no star.
Mm.
It is going to pick up eventually because it is that kind of film. He had a lot of confidence. We announced it for June 4th theatrical, but again the
Mm.
second wave came in. But seeing the situation of, I took this decision consciously. We three sat together and sent it to OTTs. So a lot of other OTTs said there was a huge queue of films waiting for us, and we
Mm.
wanted to go for only star films.
Mm.
And Sony Live is someone who saw the film immediately. The next day they wanted to take the film.
Okay.
So we went ahead and gave it to them because they have very, very strong content.
Mm.
They have subscriptions. A lot of people don't know they have subscriptions more than one of the top OTTs we know.
Mm. Mm.
So thanks to Sony Live, thanks to Padmanabh Reddy Garu, thanks to Kartikeya, thanks to all the technicians who have done their best, and the actors, phenomenal
Yeah.
actors. So finally here I
Great.
am. So.
So, will your second film, will your sophomore film be something less tasking for you, or will
No, no, I
you
want
go
to.
and
No,
do something
no, no.
bigger?
I do not want to do films which doesn't challenge me. So
Okay.
I don't want to be a comfortable filmmaker. I can't be I can't be my best when I'm comfortable telling a story, directing a film. So I want to go through, not in terms of time, but in terms of challenges I want to go through. It's a very, very tough film to make again. It's a big film. I've already signed with a big production house.
It's wonderful.
It's a very, very challenging film, and that makes me happy. So I'm going to make another kick-ass film. So that's not going to be artsy. That's going to be very, very uh, appealing to
The
people call it
crowd, the
commercial.
masses.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't call it commercial because it's very, very different
Hmm.
idea, but at the same time it has a broader scale. when it comes to the reach of the audience. I'm looking
Wonderful,
forward.
wonderful. I'm really looking forward to the second
Yeah,
film, and obviously the follow up to Aakashvaani, like you mentioned. I'm looking forward
yeah,
to the stories that you
yeah,
have to tell. So
yeah,
thank you very much. This has been a lovely conversation.
yeah,
Thank you very much,
yeah,
Ashwin. Once again, congrats for the film. Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Ram. Thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Pleasure.